Before you immerse yourself in this deeply moving narrative of unexpected romance, hidden kindness, and profound transformation, remember to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and comment below with where you're tuning in from. Your support helps us share more heartwarming stories. The Secret Admirer, a humble assistant, a hidden rose, and a CEO's awakening. Imagine the meticulous order of a high-powered CEO's office, shattered by a single, delicate white rose. His quiet, unassuming assistant, barely noticed, leaves it on his desk as a silent gesture of kindness. But when his glamorous fiancée mistakenly claims the romantic offering, the CEO's world, already on the brink, begins to unravel. What happens when a misplaced act of affection exposes a web of deceit, forcing a man to confront the superficiality of his life and discover true love where he least expected it? This is a story about hidden depths, unexpected connections, and the transformative power of a hidden truth, a quiet gesture, a misplaced affection. Sophia, can you bring me the contracts for the Brooklyn property? Mr. Alex Vance's voice resonated from his office, interrupting the morning silence. Sophia Hayes looked up from her computer, where she was reviewing the day's appointments. Her hands trembled slightly as she searched for the folder among the perfectly organized documents on her desk. "Right away, Mr. Vance," she replied softly, as she always did. She walked towards the glass office where Alex stood by the window overlooking downtown New York City. At 35, he was the owner of the country's most successful hotel chain. But that morning his face showed a tension Sophia knew well. "The investors backed out," he murmured without turning. 3 years working on this acquisition, and now they say the hotel market is saturated. Sophia placed the contracts on the mahogany desk, noticing how the muscles in Alex's shoulders tensed under his navy suit. For 3 years, she had been a silent witness to his triumphs and failures, learning to read every gesture, every change in his voice. "Maybe it's an opportunity to explore other markets," she ventured. "I've been reviewing tourism statistics in Charleston and Savannah, and there's interesting growth in boutique hotels." Alex turned, surprised. His brown eyes met hers for a moment that stretched longer than usual. "You've been researching that on your own?" Sophia felt heat rise to her cheeks. I thought it might be useful. Excuse me if I overstepped." No, that's brilliant, Sophia. You always think of everything." The smile he gave her made Sophia's heart race. It was these moments that kept her awake at night, wondering if he could ever see her as more than his efficient assistant. The arrival of Isabel Thompson broke the moment. The interior designer entered the office like a gust of elegance, her black hair perfectly styled, and a dress that probably cost more than Sophia's monthly salary. "Good morning, darling," she said to Alex, kissing him on the cheek. "Sophia, I need you to reschedule my appointment with the Italian marble suppliers. I decided to change the entire lobby design for the Miami hotel." "Of course, Miss Thompson," Sophia replied, maintaining her professional tone as a pang of jealousy shot through her chest. Isabel was perfect for someone like Alex, successful, sophisticated, from the same social class. Their engagement had been on the cover of society magazines, and their wedding, scheduled for December, would be the event of the year. "The merger of our companies will be incredible," Isabel continued, taking Alex's arm. "Dad is already talking to the Japanese investors about expansion into Asia." Sophia watched Alex nod, but noticed that his smile didn't reach his eyes. She knew that expression. It was the same one he wore when talking to investors he didn't entirely like. The rest of the day passed between calls, meetings, and the usual office routine. Sophia remained at her desk until late, organizing the next week's schedule and reviewing the financial reports Alex would need for his Monday presentation. It was almost 8 o'clock at night when she finally packed her things. Passing Alex's office, She saw him still there, his tie loosened and his hair slightly disheveled, reviewing documents under the light of his desk lamp. He looked tired, lonely. Isabel had left hours earlier for a charity dinner, mentioning that Alex needed to learn to delegate more. Sophia paused at the door. "Do you need anything else, Mr. Vance?" He looked up, surprised to see her still there. "Sophia, you should have left by now. Don't you have plans for Friday night?" "No, I prefer to make sure everything is ready for Monday." Alex looked at her with an expression she couldn't decipher. "Thank you, Sophia. I don't know what I'd do without you." Those words accompanied her all the way home on the subway. Getting off at her station, she passed the Chelsea Market, where she always bought fruit for dinner. It was then she saw the white roses at Mrs. Elena's flower stall. "For someone special, dearie?" the vendor asked with a knowing smile. Sophia hesitated for a moment. "Yes, for someone who deserves to see more beauty in their day." The next day, she arrived at the office half an hour earlier than usual. Her heart pounded so hard, she feared someone might hear it. With trembling hands, she placed the white rose on Alex's desk next to a small handwritten note. "For someone who deserves to see more beauty in their day." She quickly hid at her desk, pretending to check emails, while she waited for Alex to arrive. But Isabel appeared first, unusually early for her. She never arrived before 10. "Good morning, Sophia," Isabel said, heading directly to Alex's office. Sophia watched her discover the rose and the note. Her expression changed from surprise to a satisfied smile. When Alex arrived 15 minutes later, Isabel was waiting for him, sitting in his chair, twirling the rose between her fingers. "How do you like your surprise?" she asked with a flirtatious smile. Alex looked at the flower, confused. "What surprise?" "The rose, silly. It's beautiful. Just what I needed to brighten my day." From her desk, Sophia watched as Alex accepted the misunderstanding, how his face lit up at the thought that Isabel had made such a romantic gesture. On the 35th floor of the building, in the security office, Mr. Frank turned off the monitor where he had observed the entire scene. The older man sighed, knowing well the feelings of the young woman he had seen grow professionally for 3 years. "Oh, my dear girl," he murmured to himself, "love is never easy." He saved the recording in a special file, sensing that one day that truth would be important. What is the deeper meaning behind Sophia choosing a white rose for Alex? And how does Isabel's quick assumption of credit impact Sophia? What role do you think Mr. Frank's recording will play in the future of this story? Share your insights in the comments. A silent torture. The next 3 weeks were a silent torture for Sophia. Every morning she came to the office expecting her usual routine, but everything had changed since that white rose. Alex arrived every day with small gifts for Isabel, her favorite coffee from the French cafe, imported chocolates, even a bouquet of red roses that made Sophia's heart ache. "Look what my future husband brought me," Isabel boasted, showing off a diamond bracelet while Sophia organized files. "He says he wants to show me more often how much he loves me." "How beautiful," Sophia murmured, forcing a smile. But what hurt her most were the moments when Alex looked at her with that confused expression, as if trying to decipher something he couldn't grasp. During meetings, his eyes would drift towards her when Isabel spoke. When they reviewed documents together, their hands would accidentally brush, and he would remain still for a few extra seconds. "Sophia, could you stay for a moment?" Alex asked her after a particularly tense meeting with Japanese investors. "I need your opinion on the expansion proposal." Isabel had already left, mentioning something about an appointment with her wedding planner. The other executives had left the boardroom, leaving them alone, surrounded by graphs and financial projections. "The numbers don't add up," Alex said, running a hand through his hair. "Something tells me this aggressive expansion isn't a good idea, but I can't explain why." Sophia approached the screen, studying the data. Her proximity made Alex notice the subtle scent of her perfume, something floral and soft that he always associated with quiet mornings in the office. "Here's the problem," she pointed out. "They're projecting 30% growth in markets we don't know. It's too risky. It's better to consolidate what we have and grow gradually." "Exactly," he murmured, admiring the clarity of her analysis. "You always know how to see what I can't." Their eyes met, and for a moment the air between them thickened. Sophia felt him lean in slightly, but the sound of heels in the hallway broke the spell. "Are you still here?" Isabel appeared at the door with an expression that didn't quite hide her irritation. "Alex, you forgot we have the menu tasting for the wedding." "Of course, my apologies." Alex moved away from Sophia as if he had woken from a dream. "Sophia, we'll review this more calmly tomorrow." That night, Isabel stayed at Alex's penthouse, something she had started doing more frequently. While he worked in his study, she planned every detail of their December wedding. "I've been thinking," Isabel said, entering the study with a glass of wine. "I think we need to make some changes to your team." Alex looked up from his laptop. "What kind of changes?" "Well, for example, your assistant. Sophia is very ordinary, don't you think? For a company of our level, we need someone with more presence, more sophistication." "Sophia is the best assistant I've ever had," Alex replied with a firmness that surprised Isabel. "She's efficient, intelligent, and reliable. But Alex, when our companies merge, image will be very important. We can't have employees who don't represent our values." "Our values should include valuing hard work and loyalty," he retorted, closing his laptop. "Sophia has been with me 3 years. She knows every aspect of the business." Isabel studied his face, noting an intensity in his defense that made her uncomfortable. All right. It was just a suggestion." But that night, as Alex slept, Isabel couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more behind her fiancé's vehement defense of his assistant. The following week, during a crucial presentation with skeptical investors about the Charleston project, the tension in the boardroom was palpable. The numbers were good, but the investors questioned every detail. "The boutique hotel market is saturated," one of them argued. "Why should we bet on this?" Alex presented his data, but Sophia noticed that the investors were not convinced. Without thinking twice, she stood up. "Excuse me for intervening," she said, with a confidence that surprised everyone, including herself. "The numbers show that cultural tourism is growing 40% annually in Charleston. Travelers no longer want generic hotels. They're looking for authentic experiences." She walked towards the screen, her initial nervousness transforming into genuine passion for the project. A boutique hotel in the historic center wouldn't compete with the big chains. It would offer something unique, connection with local culture, authentic cuisine, regional art. It's a niche market with customers willing to pay premium prices for genuine experiences. The room fell silent. The investors exchanged glances, clearly impressed by the analysis. "The young lady is right," the lead investor admitted. "We hadn't considered that angle." Alex watched Sophia with a mix of pride and awe. At that moment, seeing her shine with intelligence and passion, something stirred deeply in his chest. After the investors left, committed to the project, Alex approached Sophia. "That was incredible," he told her. "You saved the presentation." I wanted to help," she replied, still surprised by her own audacity. "Sophia, he began to say. But Isabel suddenly appeared. "How was the meeting?" she asked, immediately noticing the tension between them. "Excellent," Alex replied, without taking his eyes off Sophia. Sophia was brilliant. Isabel felt a pang of something she didn't want to acknowledge as jealousy. That night, alone in her apartment, she made a decision that would change everything. How does Isabel's subtle yet persistent attempts to undermine Sophia reveal her own insecurities and distrust? What is the significance of Sophia's intervention in the investor meeting? And how does it further solidify Alex's admiration for her? Share your insights in the comments. A web of deceit unraveled. The next day, Isabel arrived at the office early and went directly to Sophia's desk. "We need to talk," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I think it would be better for everyone if you looked for opportunities at another company. I can recommend you to some contacts." Sophia looked at her, confused. "Have I done something wrong?" "It's not personal, dear. It's just that when Alex and I merge our companies, we'll need to bring new blood to the team, people more aligned with our vision." Before Sophia could respond, Alex's voice resonated from his office. "What are you talking about?" Isabel turned with a forced smile. "I was just telling Sophia about the opportunities that will arise with the merger." "What opportunities?" Alex asked, approaching with a frown. "Sophia isn't going anywhere," he interrupted with a firmness that surprised both women. "She's a fundamental part of this team." The intensity of his response left Isabel speechless. In Alex's eyes, there was something she had never seen. Fierce, almost desperate protection. Sophia felt the air leave her lungs. The tension between the three of them was so thick it could be cut with a knife. "I need some air," she murmured, quickly heading out to the office balcony. Isabel watched Alex, who continued to look at Sophia until she disappeared through the door. "Alex," Isabel said softly, "is there anything you need to tell me?" He turned to her, and for the first time in months, he truly looked at her. He saw the woman he was going to marry in 6 months, and he wondered when he had stopped feeling butterflies when he saw her. "I don't know what you're talking about," he lied, but they both knew that something had irrevocably changed. Alex's phone rang at 6 in the morning on a Monday, interrupting his thoughts about the previous week's tension. The architect from Charleston sounded desperate. "Mr. Vance, we have a serious problem. The municipal permits are at risk, and the workers have threatened to stop construction. We need someone to come immediately." Alex rubbed his temple, feeling a headache coming on. The Charleston project was crucial for the company's expansion, and he couldn't afford any more delays. "Isabel, I need you to come with me to Charleston," he told her when she arrived at the office. "There's a crisis that requires immediate supervision." "Today?" "Impossible," Isabel replied, checking her schedule. "I have the New York exhibition this week. My dad's contacts will be there. It's crucial for my career." "But Isabel..." "Alex, you can handle this alone. Besides, you've been on this project for 3 years. You know every detail." Alex sighed, knowing he couldn't pressure her when it came to her career. But he also knew he needed someone who knew every aspect of the project, every document, every specification. "Sophia," he called her, "I need you to come with me to Charleston. You have all the project files organized, and you know every detail." Sophia looked up, surprised. "But Mr. Vance, I've never traveled for work." "I trust you more than anyone," he told her, and the sincerity in his voice made her blush. "Besides, you were the one who researched the tourism potential of the area." During the flight, Sophia felt completely out of place in first class, but Alex reassured her with conversations about the project. Gradually, her initial nervousness transformed into fascination at finally seeing the work she had helped plan from a desk materialized. "You know," Alex told her as the plane flew over the mountains, "I've never asked you why you studied hospitality." Sophia smiled shyly. "When I was a little girl, my dad worked as a concierge at a hotel in Queens. He used to take me sometimes on weekends, and I would see how guests arrived tired and left happy. It seemed magical to me to be able to create that transformation." "Does your dad still work there?" "He died when I was 15, she replied softly. "That's why I had to study at night to work during the day and help my mom." Alex looked at her with new admiration. "I didn't know you had been through that. You must have been very brave." "I had no choice," she shrugged. "But I don't regret it. Every job taught me something valuable. And how did you end up at my company?" "Well, Sophia blushed. "I saw an interview of yours on television where you talked about creating dignified jobs for American families. You sounded different from other businessmen, more human." Alex felt something warm in his chest. "Really? Was that what attracted you?" "That, and that your hotels had the best employee treatment standards according to surveys. My dad always used to say that a good boss is known by how he treats people who can't benefit him." The rest of the flight passed in a conversation neither of them had expected. Alex told her about the pressure to prove he wasn't just daddy's boy. And Sophia shared her dreams of someday traveling the world, getting to know different hotel cultures. Upon arriving in Charleston, the crisis was worse than expected. The workers were upset about delayed payments caused by bureaucratic problems, and municipal officials threatened to revoke permits if certain environmental specifications weren't met. Sophia proved invaluable, not only for her knowledge of the documents, but for her ability to speak to the workers and officials with genuine respect that immediately put them at ease. "Excuse me, Mr. Vance," the foreman told him. "I understand your concern about payments. Here are the transfer receipts. The bank made a processing error, but it's been resolved." Alex watched, fascinated, as Sophia navigated the problems with a natural grace he didn't possess. She didn't impose her authority. She earned it with empathy and competence. On the third day, a tropical storm hit the region, forcing them to take refuge in a small family inn in Charleston's historic center. The modern hotel where they were staying had lost electricity and water. "Oh, young ones, come in, come in," Mama Elena, the innkeeper, greeted them. "Don't worry, you'll be safe here until the storm passes." The inn was humble but cozy, with adobe walls decorated with local textiles and the aroma of gumbo wafting from the kitchen. When the lights went out, Mama Elena brought them candles and settled them in the small common room. "This is very different from five-star hotels," Alex commented, but it didn't sound like a complaint. "It's beautiful," Sophia responded, admiring the artisanal details. "It has soul." By candlelight, their conversations took a more intimate turn. Alex confessed that he sometimes felt imprisoned by the expectations of his social class, that his engagement to Isabel had been more a merger of empires than a decision of the heart. "Have you ever felt like your life isn't really yours?" he asked. Sophia nodded. "Every day. But I suppose that's the price of being responsible for others. You for your company and employees, me for my mom. Have you ever just wanted to escape?" "Constantly," she laughed. "I dream of visiting the markets of Marrakesh, the ryokans of Japan, the B&Bs of Ireland. But they're just dreams." "They don't have to be," Alex said softly. "You have the talent to work anywhere in the world." Sophia looked into his eyes, and in the golden candlelight, something that made her catch her breath. It wasn't the look of a boss at his employee, but something much deeper and more dangerous. The next day, as they supervised the last details of the construction, they walked together through the Charleston market. The colors, aromas, and sounds created a magical atmosphere neither of them wanted to end. It was then that Sophia stopped in front of a flower stall, where white roses identical to the one she had left on Alex's desk were on display. "These are exactly like the one I left on." She stopped abruptly, but it was too late. Alex turned to her, his eyes wide. "What did you say?" Sophia felt the world stop. "No, nothing." Alex gently took her by the shoulders. "It was you who left the rose on my desk." Tears began to well up in her eyes. Yes, it was a mistake. You looked so tired and sad that day, and I just wanted to." She broke down. "But Isabel took the credit, and I couldn't." "Isabel knew it wasn't her. Not at first. But when you assumed it was her, she didn't correct it." Alex felt as if the ground were moving beneath his feet. For weeks he had been thanking Isabel for a gesture she hadn't made, while the true author of that act of kindness remained invisible. "Sophia, he began, but she was already backing away, embarrassed. "Excuse me, Mr. Vance. I shouldn't have said anything. Let's pretend this never happened." But Alex caught up to her, taking her hand to stop her. "No, we can't pretend. Sophia, do you know what that rose meant to me?" She shook her head, not daring to speak. I had been feeling lost for weeks, questioning everything. And that rose, that little note, reminded me that there was still beauty in the world. I thought Isabel finally understood me. But it was you. It has always been you who understands me. "Mr. Vance, you shouldn't say that," Alex corrected her. "My name is Alex, and you're right, I shouldn't say this, but..." He looked at her intensely. "Sophia, I think I've fallen in love with you." That night, under the Charleston stars on the inn's terrace, Alex and Sophia kissed for the first time. It was a kiss full of tenderness, of years of suppressed feelings, of the certainty that what they felt was real and profound, but also terribly complicated. "What are we going to do?" Sophia whispered against his lips. "I don't know," he admitted, "but for the first time in years, I feel truly alive." Above, the stars witnessed a love that would change everything, unaware that the return to reality would be more difficult than either of them could imagine. How does the discovery of Sophia's secret admirer identity impact Alex's perception of Isabel and his own relationship? What is the significance of Alex's confession of love to Sophia? And how does their first kiss, though complicated, signify a new beginning? Share your insights in the comments. A choice made. A life redirected. The flight back to New York City was a tense silence, full of furtive glances and accidentally brushing hands. Sophia looked out the window, feigning interest in the clouds, while her mind replayed the kiss under the Charleston stars. Alex reviewed documents without really reading them, aware of Sophia's every breath, how she bit her lower lip when she was nervous, how her presence had completely changed the meaning of everything he thought he knew about his own life. "Sophia," he murmured, when the plane began its descent. "What happened in Charleston can't happen again." I interrupted him without looking at him. "You're engaged. I'm your employee. It was a mistake." "A mistake?" His disbelief made her turn. "Do you really think what we feel is a mistake?" "What I feel doesn't matter," she whispered. "You're marrying Isabel in 6 months. I can't be the other woman." "Sophia, Please," she begged, tears in her eyes. "Don't make this harder than it already is." Upon arriving at the office on Monday, the tension was palpable. Isabel waited for them, with a bright smile and a new dress she had bought in New York. "How is Charleston?" she asked, kissing Alex on the lips. Sophia felt a dagger pierce her chest at the sight of the kiss, but she maintained her neutral expression. "Excellent," Alex replied, his voice tense. Sophia was invaluable. Isabel immediately noticed something different in the atmosphere. The way Alex avoided her gaze, how Sophia kept busy organizing papers that were already perfectly organized, how both avoided being alone in the same room. "Sophia, I need you to cancel my appointments this afternoon. I want to spend time with my fiancé." Over the next few days, Isabel observed every interaction between Alex and Sophia with the precision of a detective. She noticed how Alex froze when Sophia handed him documents and their hands brushed, how Sophia blushed when he thanked her for her work, how both avoided being alone in the same room. "Alex," Isabel told him one night at his apartment, "is there anything you want to tell me about the trip?" "What do you mean?" he asked, but his voice sounded forced. "I've been stressed with the project, nothing more." Isabel studied him. In their years together, she had learned to read his lies. "Are you sure? Because I feel something has changed between us." Alex looked at her, and for a moment he was tempted to confess everything. But the implications were too complex. The family businesses, the corporate merger, the future of hundreds of employees. "I'm sure," he lied. But Isabel had already made a decision. The next day, she hired a private investigator. "I need to know exactly what happened on the trip to Charleston," she told him. "Every detail, every move." A week later, Isabel had in her hands photos that confirmed her worst suspicions. Alex and Sophia walking very close in the market, talking intimately on the inn's terrace, and the most devastating of all, kissing under the stars. That afternoon, Isabel arrived at the office with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She waited for Sophia to leave for lunch to confront Alex. "I think we need to talk," she said, closing his office door and placing the photos on his desk. Alex turned pale when he saw the images. "Isabel, I can explain." "Explain what?" Her voice was dangerously calm. "Explain how you betrayed me with your little employee? Explain how you've been lying to my face for 2 weeks? It wasn't planned, Isabel. It just happened." "It just happened!" she exploded. "That's your explanation? Do you know what this means for me? For my reputation, for our families?" Alex stood up, feeling the weight of the situation. "Isabel, I know this is wrong, but..." "But what?" "But you fell in love with her?" She laughed bitterly. "Do you really think a relationship with your assistant is going to work? What are they going to say at corporate events when you bring the girl from Brooklyn as your partner?" "Don't talk about her like that," Alex responded, with a firmness that surprised Isabel. "Oh, Alex, you're really lost." Isabel calmed down, but her voice turned icy. "Let me explain how things are going to be. You're going to fire that woman immediately. We're going to continue with our wedding plans as if nothing happened. And if I ever find out you had contact with her again, I'll ruin her career so completely she won't even be able to get a job as a receptionist at a roadside motel." "You can't threaten her." "I can and I will," Isabel approached him. "My family has contacts throughout the country's hotel industry. One word from me and Sophia Hayes will be persona non grata at any respectable company." Alex felt as if he had been punched in the stomach. He knew the power and influence of Isabel's family. Their threats were not empty. "Besides," Isabel continued, "if this becomes public, it will not only affect your company's reputation, but investors will start questioning your stability. Do you really want to risk the future of all your employees for a romantic whim?" "It's not a whim," Alex murmured. "It doesn't matter what it is. It's your decision. Her or everything you've built." When Sophia returned from lunch, she found Alex waiting for her by her desk. His face was pale, and his eyes avoided hers. "Sophia, we need to talk." He led her to the empty boardroom, where the most difficult words of his life came out like knives. "I think it would be better if you looked for opportunities at another company," he told her, looking out the window. Sophia felt the air leave her lungs. "What? What happened in Charleston? It was a mistake. We both know there can be no future between us. Our lives are too different." "Do you really believe that?" she whispered. Alex finally looked at her, and Sophia saw pain in his eyes, but also a determination that scared her. "Yes, I do." "Is this because of Isabel? Did she threaten you?" "This is for what's right," he lied, "for your good and mine." Sophia nodded slowly, understanding more than he thought. She had seen the photos on the desk before Isabel put them away. "I understand," she said, with a dignity that broke Alex's heart. "I'll submit my resignation tomorrow." "Sophia." "No," she interrupted him. "Don't make this harder than it already is." That night, Sophia called her mother in Queens. "Mom, I'm coming home. I found a job here, in the city." "But my dear, weren't you very happy in New York? What happened?" Sophia looked out the window of her small apartment at the city lights that had made her dream of a different future. "Sometimes dreams just don't come true, Mom. But it's okay. I'll be fine." Hanging up, she allowed herself to cry for the first and last time. The next day, Sophia Hayes would leave Alex Vance's life forever, taking with her the piece of his heart that he would never be able to recover. What is the core of Isabel's manipulation? And how does she use Alex's fear of losing his empire to control him? How does Alex's decision to lie to Sophia about his true feelings reflect his internal conflict and the immense pressure he faces? Share your insights in the comments. A desperate plea for truth. 3 months had passed since Sophia returned to Queens, and each day felt like an eternity for both of them. Sophia had found work as a management assistant at the Queen's Inn, a small boutique hotel in the historic center of Queens. The salary was half of what she earned in New York City, but it was enough to take care of her mother and maintain her small dignity intact. "Daughter, you're very thin," her mother, Mrs. Evelyn Hayes, would tell her every morning while preparing breakfast. "And you don't smile like you used to." "I'm fine, Mom. I'm just adjusting." But she wasn't fine. Every night she stayed awake thinking about Alex, wondering if he also remembered the Charleston stars, if the smell of coffee in the mornings reminded him of their conversations, if he ever regretted letting her go. Meanwhile, in New York City, Alex was a ghost of himself. Employees whispered in the hallways about his new assistant, an efficient but cold woman who never understood his needs as Sophia used to. "Alex, you need to focus," Isabel would tell him during wedding planning meetings. "Only 3 months left, and you still haven't approved the menu." "What?" "Yes, okay, whatever you say." Isabel watched him with a mixture of victory and concern. She had managed to push Sophia away, but the man she was going to marry was a shadow of the Alex she knew. "Are you still thinking about her?" she asked him one night directly. "About who? Don't do this to me." "Me, Alex, you know exactly who I'm talking about." Alex poured himself another whiskey, his third of the night. "It doesn't matter anymore. She's gone. We're moving on." "Moving on? You can barely concentrate on a conversation. You're late for meetings. Your brothers are worried about you." "I'm fine." "No, you're not fine. And frankly, I'm tired of competing with a ghost." In Queens, Sophia had established a routine that kept her busy. She worked at the hotel from 7 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Then she took care of her mother, who was finally responding well to the medical treatment she could afford with her new job. "Miss Sophia," Mr. George, the owner of the Queen's Inn, told her, "I've been thinking about expanding our services. Would you be interested in helping me develop a digital marketing plan?" It was exactly the kind of project that excited her, but even as she worked on innovative proposals, a part of her still longed for the strategic conversations she used to have with Alex. One afternoon, while organizing documents in the hotel office, her phone rang. It was a New York City number she didn't recognize. "Miss Hayes, this is Frank Evans, head of security for Vance Hotels." Sophia's heart stopped. "Mr. Evans, is everything all right? Did something happen to Mr. Vance?" No. Well, yes, but not physically." "Miss, I need to tell you something important. Could you come to New York City today? Today is Saturday. Miss, Mr. Vance is getting married today at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Miss Thompson says there's something you need to know before that." Sophia felt the world reel. "Isabel wants to see me on her wedding day?" "Yes, miss. She's at the Rouge Salon in Midtown. She says she'll wait for you until 2. After hanging up, Sophia remained motionless, staring at the phone. "What happened, dear?" her mother asked. "Isabel wants to see me today, on her wedding day." Evelyn sat beside her daughter. "And what are you going to do?" "I don't know. Why would she want to see me? To humiliate me, to make sure I don't ruin her perfect day. Or maybe," her mother said softly, "for something completely different." At 11 o'clock in the morning, Sophia was on the bus to New York City, her heart pounding so hard she feared other passengers could hear it. The Rouge Salon was exactly what she expected. Elegant, expensive, full of perfectly groomed women preparing for important events. Sophia, in her jeans and simple blouse, felt completely out of place. "Miss Hayes?" A receptionist guided her to a private room where Isabel waited, wrapped in a white silk robe, her hair in elaborate curls, and her makeup half finished. "Thank you for coming," Isabel said, surprisingly without her usual arrogance. "I know this must seem very strange to you. What do you want from me?" Sophia asked directly. Isabel sighed deeply. "I want to apologize, and I want to tell you something that changed my perspective on all of this. After you left," Isabel continued, "I hired that investigator not just to confirm what happened in Charleston. I asked him to investigate your entire life. Why would you do that? Because I wanted to find something I could use against you if you ever came back," Isabel admitted with shame. "But what I found was different." Isabel approached her bag and took out a thick folder. "I found this, the receipts for the medicine you bought for sick employees with your own salary. The reports from teachers in your night classes saying you were the best student they had ever had, despite working full-time. The letters of recommendation from all your previous jobs." Sophia frowned, not understanding where this was going. "But what impacted me the most," Isabel continued, tears beginning to form in her eyes, "was what I discovered about the night your father died." "What? You were 15. You were in the hospital with him, and you told the doctors you would do anything to save him. When he died, you stayed all night holding his hand, and you promised him you would take care of your mother no matter what it cost." Tears began to stream down Sophia's cheeks. "I don't understand why." "Because I realized that you love Alex in a way I never could." Isabel broke down. "You love him for who he is, not for what he represents, not for his money or his status, but for the man you see when no one else is looking." Isabel stood up and walked to the window. "Last night, I finally understood something. I can't marry a man who's in love with another woman. And more importantly, I can't marry a man I don't truly love." Sophia looked at her, stunned. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that my love for Alex was based on control, on security, on what our union meant for my social status. But after months of therapy, I realized that's not true love." Isabel turned to Sophia with a sad but genuine smile. "Sophia, Alex needs you, and you need him. What you two have is real, and I can't keep standing in the way." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to do what I should have done months ago. I'm going to be honest." At 5:30 in the afternoon, the guests were seated in the cathedral. They murmured about the bride's delay. Alex waited at the altar with sweaty palms and his heart beating erratically. At 5:45, Isabel finally appeared at the cathedral entrance. But instead of a wedding dress, she wore an elegant navy blue dress and walked alone, without a veil, without a bouquet. The murmur of the congregation intensified as she walked towards the altar with a determined step. "Alex," she told him when she reached him, "we need to talk now." "Isabel, what?" "I can't marry you," she declared loudly enough for the first guests to hear. "And you can't marry me." The silence in the cathedral was deafening. "What are you talking about?" Alex whispered. "I'm talking about you being in love with another woman. I'm talking about me never having loved you in the way you deserve to be loved. I'm talking about us both deserving to be truly happy." Isabel took his hands. "Alex, go find her. Go find Sophia before it's too late." "Isabel, I can't. The guests, our families, the business." "Alex," she interrupted firmly. "When was the last time you were truly happy?" Without hesitation, he replied, "In Charleston. Under the stars. With her. Then go. Run. And don't look back." Alex looked at her, seeing in her eyes a compassion and generosity he didn't expect. "Thank you," he whispered. "Don't thank me. Just be happy." Without another word, Alex took off his coat, loosened his tie, and ran down the cathedral aisle, under the stunned gazes of 300 guests. The murmurs turned to shouts of surprise as the cathedral doors closed behind him. Isabel turned to the congregation with a serene smile. "Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that there will be no wedding today. But there will be a beautiful love story, only it's not mine." Outside, Alex got into his car, his heart pumping pure adrenaline. He had exactly 4 hours to drive to Queens, and a single white rose he had bought that morning, like a silent promise that this time he wouldn't let love slip through his fingers. The rain began to fall as he left the city, but for the first time in months, Alex Vance truly smiled. What profound truth does Isabel's investigation into Sophia's life reveal to her? And how does it change her perspective on love and her relationship with Alex? How does Isabel's courageous act at the altar redefine the meaning of true love and sacrifice for Alex? Share your insights in the comments. A race against time, a leap of faith. The rain lashed the windshield with an intensity that made it difficult to see the road. But Alex didn't slow down. His hands gripped the steering wheel as his mind repeated a single sentence. "Please, don't be too late." In Queens, Sophia had arrived home drenched after walking in the storm. Her mother greeted her with a towel and hot tea. "How was it with Isabel?" Evelyn asked, noticing her daughter's red eyes. "Mom, it was unexpected." Sophia huddled on the sofa. "She apologized. She told me she can't marry Alex." "And what does that mean for you?" "I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe he already made his decision a long time ago. And even if Isabel doesn't marry him, that doesn't mean he wants me back in his life." Sophia's phone began to ring insistently. It was Mr. Frank. "Miss, have you seen the news?" "No, why?" "Turn on the TV. Channel 2. Quick." Sophia turned on the TV just in time to see the country's most famous entertainment reporter speaking from outside the cathedral. In an unprecedented decision, Isabel Thompson canceled her wedding to hotel magnate Alex Vance minutes before the ceremony. Close sources report that Vance ran out of the cathedral after the bride publicly declared she could not marry him. Sophia froze, watching the images of confused guests leaving the cathedral in the rain. "Oh my God," her mother murmured. "Daughter, what are you going to do?" "I don't know, Mom. I don't know if this changes anything." Her phone rang again. This time, it was a number she didn't recognize. "Sophia?" The voice made her tremble. "Alex?" "Sophia, please don't hang up. I need to talk to you. Where are you? Are you okay?" "I'm driving to Queens. Sophia, there are so many things I need to tell you. So many things that went wrong." The call abruptly cut off. Sophia dialed back, but the phone went straight to voicemail. "What happened?" her mother asked. "The call cut off. He said he was coming here, but..." On the highway, Alex battled the torrential rain. His phone had died, and visibility was almost nil. When he saw the patrol car lights behind him, his heart sank. "Excuse me, officer," he told the police officer who approached his window. "I know I was speeding, but it's an emergency." "A medical emergency?" the officer asked, noticing Alex's soaked formal clothes. "A heart emergency," Alex replied sincerely. "Officer, I canceled my wedding 2 hours ago to come find the woman I love. If I don't get there tonight, I might never find the courage to do it again." The officer looked at him for a long moment, then sighed. "Follow me. I know shortcuts, and I have emergency lights." For the next 2 hours, the patrol car guided Alex through back roads, avoiding the most dangerous points of the storm. When they finally reached the outskirts of Queens, the officer rolled down his window. "Good luck, young man. I hope it's worth it." "More than anything in the world," Alex responded. It was almost 11 o'clock at night when Alex finally found Sophia's address. The rain had subsided to a soft drizzle, but he was still soaked. He stood in front of the small adobe house, with the white rose in his hand, trying to find the courage to knock on the door. Inside, Sophia hadn't been able to sleep. Every noise made her jump, waiting. But waiting for what exactly? When the doorbell finally rang, her heart stopped. Who could it be at this hour? Her mother murmured from her bedroom. Sophia approached the door, her heart pounding violently. Who is it? It's me, Sophia. It's Alex. For a moment, the world completely stopped. Sophia pressed her forehead against the door, trying to control her breathing. Alex, what are you doing here? What are you? I came to apologize. I came to tell you the truth. I came to beg you for a second chance. It's 11 o'clock at night. You're soaked, and you were supposed to get married today. I didn't get married, Sophia. I couldn't. I couldn't marry Isabel when my heart belongs to you. Sophia slowly opened the door, and there he was, Alex Vance, the hotel magnate, standing at her modest entrance, his wedding suit wrinkled and soaked, his hair plastered to his forehead, holding a trembling white rose. Are you crazy? She asked him, but her eyes filled with tears. Completely crazy, he admitted. Crazy for you, crazy for us, crazy for letting fear and threat separate me from the only person who has made me feel truly alive. Alex, Sophia, I know I have no right to be here. I know I hurt you. I know I let you go when I should have fought for you. But please let me explain everything. Sophia looked him in the eyes, seeing in them the same pain she had been carrying for months. Come in, she finally told him. You're going to catch pneumonia. Alex entered the small living room, feeling immensely out of place, but exactly where he needed to be. Evelyn appeared at her bedroom door, wrapped in a robe. So you're the famous Alex, Sophia's mother said, studying him with piercing eyes. Ma'am, Mom, please, Sophia intervened. Could you give us a moment? Evelyn nodded, but before leaving, she approached Alex. Young man, my daughter cried every night for 3 months because of you. If you're here just to hurt her again, you'd better leave now. No, ma'am, Alex replied with total sincerity. I'm here because I realized I can't live without her. And this time, I'm not going to let anything or anyone separate us. When they were alone, Alex extended the rose. This is for all the gestures of love I never recognized, for all the times you were invisible, when you should have been the only thing I saw. Sophia took the rose with trembling hands. Alex, what really happened today? Isabel set me free. She told me something that hit me like a hammer. She asked me when was the last time I was truly happy. And what did you tell her? The truth. I told her it was in Charleston, under the stars, with you. Sophia sat on the small sofa, and he knelt in front of her. Sophia, Mr. Frank showed me the security recording. I saw how Isabel took credit for your rose, knowing perfectly well it had been yours. I saw all the lies, all the manipulations. Is that why you came? Out of guilt? No, he took her hands. I came because I finally understood that true love isn't about what's convenient or easy. It's about finding the person who makes everything else make sense. Tears streamed freely down Sophia's cheeks. Alex, it's been 3 months. How do I know this isn't just an impulse? How do I know you won't change your mind when you go back to your world? Because my world means nothing without you in it, he replied. Sophia, these 3 months have been hell. Every day, every meeting, every decision, everything reminded me of what I had lost. And what about your company? The merger. Everything you built. All that can be rebuilt. But what we have? This is unique. This is real. Alex stood up and walked to the window, watching the rain that still fell softly. Sophia, I'm not asking you to go back to being my assistant. I'm asking you to be my partner in everything. In life, in business, in dreams. What do you mean? I want us to start our own hotel company. Together. Boutique hotels that combine luxury with soul, like that inn in Charleston. Places where people feel at home, but also feel magic. Sophia looked at him, stunned. Are you serious? I've never been more serious in my life. I have savings, I have contacts, I have experience. But what I don't have is the passion, the creativity, the empathy you have. Without you, I'm just another businessman. With you, we can create something special. Alex, that sounds beautiful, but what? What are people going to say? Your family, society? Alex returned to her side, taking her face in his hands. Screw them all, he said with a smile. Sorry for the language, but it's the truth. Sophia, I've spent my whole life living for others' expectations. It's time I lived for myself, for us. Sophia closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the most important decision of her life. And if it doesn't work, and if we fail, then we'll fail together. But Sophia, what if it works? What if we create something beautiful? When Sophia opened her eyes, she saw in Alex's not only love, but also respect, admiration, and something she had never seen before. A real partnership, a proposal to walk through life together as equals. Are you proposing marriage or a business merger? She asked him with a small smile. I'm proposing an entire life together, in every sense. Sophia looked at the rose in her hands, remembering the day she had left it on his desk, hoping only to brighten his day a little. She never imagined that small gesture would change both their lives forever. Yes, she whispered finally. Yes, yes to everything. To the company, to the partnership, to life together. Yes, Alex. He took her in his arms and kissed her with all the passion and love he had been containing for months. Outside, the rain had stopped, and the first stars were beginning to appear between the clouds. When they parted, Alex whispered against her lips, You know what? I think Mr. George was right. About what? He once told me that true love always finds its way. Maybe it took some detours, maybe there were obstacles, but here we are. Sophia smiled, feeling for the first time in months that everything was exactly as it should be. Yes, here we are, under our own stars. And as they embraced in the small living room of that humble house in Queens, both Alex and Sophia knew that sometimes the most beautiful endings are born from the most uncertain beginnings. What does Alex's desperate drive to Sophia's home and his raw honesty reveal about his transformation? How does Sophia's decision to accept Alex's proposal, despite the risks, symbolize her courage and belief in their shared future? Share your insights in the comments. A new empire of love and hospitality 6 months later, the morning sun filtered through the windows of the small boutique hotel, the Charleston Star, the first in their new hotel chain, Vance Hayes Hospitality. Sophia reviewed the last details of the inauguration, while Alex coordinated with local suppliers in the central courtyard. Nervous? He asked, approaching from behind and wrapping his arms around her. A little, she admitted, leaning against his chest. It's our first hotel together. I want it to be perfect. It's already perfect, he murmured, kissing her forehead. Because we created it, together. The hotel was exactly what they had dreamed of. 15 intimate rooms, decorated with local crafts. A restaurant serving gourmet Charleston cuisine. And in the center, a courtyard with a fountain where guests could see the stars at night. Exactly like that night that changed their lives. Mrs. Hayes? Ms. Elena, the local receptionist they had hired, interrupted her. The first guests have arrived. Sophia smiled. She still wasn't used to being called Mrs. Hayes, though technically it wasn't correct yet. Her wedding to Alex would be next month, an intimate ceremony on the beach in Savannah, with only their closest family. We're coming, she replied, adjusting the embroidered blouse she had bought at the local market. The first guests turned out to be a honeymoon couple from New York City, who immediately fell in love with the intimate atmosphere of the hotel. "It's exactly what we were looking for," the wife told Sophia. "Luxurious, but authentic. You can feel the love you put into every detail." While Alex showed them to their rooms, Sophia received an unexpected call. "Sophia? It's Isabel. I hope you don't mind me calling." Sophia was surprised, but after the events of the past year, she had developed a curiously cordial relationship with her former rival. "Not at all, Isabel. How are you?" "Very well, thank you. I just saw the article about your hotel in Travel and Leisure magazine. It looks absolutely beautiful." "Thank you. How are things with you?" Isabel had used the cancellation of her wedding as an opportunity to completely reevaluate her life. She now directed a foundation for women entrepreneurs and, surprisingly, had found true love with her couples therapist, a calm and gentle man who loved her for who she truly was, not for her last name. "Very well. In fact, I was calling because I have a business proposal. Seriously, my foundation wants to organize women's empowerment retreats. Do you think your hotel would be interested in hosting some events?" Sophia smiled, admiring how life had come full circle. "I'd love to discuss it. Let me talk to Alex about it." When she hung up, Alex appeared beside her with a huge smile. "Guess what?" "What?" "The honeymoon couple just booked 2 additional weeks, and they've already recommended the hotel to 4 more couples. Incredible!" Sophia hugged him. "And I have news too. Isabel wants to do business with us." Alex raised his eyebrows, amused. "Isabel Thompson wants to work with us? Life definitely has a sense of humor. The best part is that I no longer feel resentment towards her. In the end, if none of that had happened, maybe we never would have gotten here." "You're right." He kissed her gently. "Sometimes the biggest obstacles lead us to the most beautiful destinations." That afternoon, while the guests rested and the staff prepared dinner, Alex and Sophia escaped to their favorite spot, the terrace where they had first kissed more than a year ago. "Do you regret anything?" Sophia asked him, lying in his arms under the first stars of the night. "Only one thing," he replied. "What?" "Not having had the courage to tell you I loved you much earlier. I think a part of me knew it from the day you arrived at my office, so nervous and determined." "Really?" "Really. There was something about you from the very beginning. The way you talked about guests as if they were real people, not just numbers. The way you cared about every detail, because you knew it mattered." Sophia snuggled closer to him. "I fell in love with you the day you defended Mama Elena when the rude guest treated her badly. I saw a man who cared about people, not just profits." "Look at us," Alex laughed. "2 people in love pretending not to be for months. Well, in the end, it worked out." Sophia looked up at the stars. "You know what I like most about our hotel? That every guest who comes here leaves with a bit of our story. They leave knowing that it's possible to find true love, that it's possible to follow your dreams, that it's possible to create something beautiful from something broken." Alex looked at her with admiration. "That's exactly why I love you. You always see the magic in ordinary things, and I love you because you help me make that magic happen." At that moment, they heard voices from the main courtyard. They peered over and saw the honeymoon couple dancing softly by the fountain, with soft music coming from their phone. "We should give them privacy," Sophia whispered. "In a moment," Alex responded, standing and extending his hand. "First, will you grant me this dance?" Sophia took his hand with a radiant smile. "Always." They danced slowly on the terrace, with no music except the sound of their hearts beating in unison and the distant murmur of their guests' happy voices. "You know what?" Alex said after a moment. "What?" "I think Mr. George was right about something else." "What else did Mr. George say?" "He once told me that the best businesses are born from love, not money. that when you love what you do and who you do it for, success comes naturally. Sophia looked around the hotel they had created together, heard the laughter of happy guests, felt the warm Charleston breeze caressing her skin, and knew that Mr. George was right. "You know what's the most beautiful thing about all this?" she asked Alex. "What?" "That this is just the beginning. We have a whole life to create more magic together. More hotels, more love stories, more fulfilled dreams." "Agreed," he said. "And maybe," Sophia added with a mischievous smile, "someday, little guests running through these halls." Alex twirled her and took her in his arms. "Future Mrs. Vance, I like the way you think." "Future Mr. Vance, me too." As the night deepened and the stars shone brighter over Charleston, Alex and Sophia remained on their terrace, planning the future, remembering the past, and fully living the perfect present they had built together. In the distance, they could hear the honeymoon couple toasting true love, unaware that they were staying in a place born precisely from that. True love that found its way despite all obstacles. And in their small hotel, under the Charleston stars, Alex Vance and Sophia Hayes knew they had found not only the love of their lives, but also their purpose: to create spaces where others could find their own magic, as the small plaque they had discreetly placed next to the courtyard fountain read, "Where the stars guide hearts home." And so, under those same stars that had witnessed their first kiss, they began the next chapter of a story that promised to be even more beautiful than everything they had lived until now.